So last month, I competed in my first half marathon. And I am not athletic, and I would not consider myself a healthy person whatsoever. But my boyfriend is a former professional athlete, so somehow I ended up training for a half marathon. And for those of you who don't know, a half marathon is 13.1 miles. That's really freaking far. I hate driving 13 miles because it takes forever, so imagine going that far with your body. Anyone who puts in the hard work and dedication to train for a half marathon is absolutely incredible in my book. So when I finished in less than 2.5 hours, I was pretty proud of myself. I told my family, I told my friends, I told my cats, and anyone else who would listen. I put it on social media, and I was really excited to brag about it. But the next day, when my friend tagged me in a Facebook post on a stranger's wall, my excitement left me. It was a stranger's post of a video, and it was captioned, "Some amazing inspiration could be found on the course of the Rochester Half Marathon yesterday." Do you want to know what the video was of? It was of me and my boyfriend pushing up a hill. And this upset me, first because a stranger decided to follow us up a hill and record the whole thing and didn't think to ask if this was okay or tell us that they were doing it. But it also upset me because this was a video of me and my boyfriend pushing up a hill, not of the other 1,318 people participating in the half marathon that day. And people were commenting on this video about how inspired they were. One woman even said she cried watching the video. So I was upset that we were being objectified and honestly a little exploited. So I put a comment on the video and I wrote, "Calm down everybody, it's just a hill." And I felt like that was pretty calm for how I was feeling and what I really wanted to say. But do you want to know what happened? I got backlash for it. Some lady commented back and said, "It's just a hill until you have to do it the way they did it. Nobody knows how hard they worked on that." That's not true. I know how hard we worked, because that's me in the video. And that's a problem. It's a problem to be inspired by disabled people doing something that you wouldn't be inspired by if a non-disabled person did it. Now, if you're inspired that I did a half marathon because 13.1 miles is really freaking far and you would never dream of doing that, then thank you. I really appreciate that. But if you're inspired that I did it in a wheelchair, then we need to reevaluate that together, because my disability shouldn't be a part of your inspiration equation. See, disabled people are usually put in one of two categories: the pity category or the inspiration category. And both of these categories hold us to pretty low expectations. So the pity category goes something like this. A non-disabled person meets a disabled person and automatically feels bad for them. They think, should I pray for them? They probably can't work or do anything for themselves. That's some pretty low expectations. And then there's the inspiration category. Me, pushing up a hill. How amazing. No. Or maybe you've seen a news story of a disabled girl making the cheerleading team. Isn't that incredible? No. Why do we hold disabled people to such low expectations that it's considered inspirational when we do something that non-disabled people do every day? See, disabled people, we're not inspirational, but we're also not pitiful. Disabled people, we're kind of just like you. That's it. We're boring. That's it. We're just like you, and we want the same things that you want. We want the American dream. We want life and liberty. We want our freedom and independence. We want to live where we want to live, and we want to go out to eat. But unfortunately, many disabled people can't do these things that most people take for granted. We don't live in the community or go out to eat because our freedom has been stolen from us. Real people, just like me and you, have their rights taken from them because they're disabled. Did you know that disabled people are regularly forced into nursing facilities or other institutions just because they're disabled? Now, you probably knew this, but you didn't think of it that way. You probably thought nursing homes are for old people. If old people need help, then they have to go to a nursing home because that's how you get help. And it's okay that you thought this, because that's what society has raised us to believe. And it all goes back to these harmful stereotypes of being pitiful or inspirational. We aren't taught that disabled people are just like everybody else and should have the same rights as everybody else. And because of this, disabled people of all ages, from babies to your great-great-grandmother, are stuck in nursing facilities. They're stuck because we've been lied to. We've been told that if a disabled person doesn't do something amazing, like push up a hill, or do something most other people can do, then they must be pitiful and need help. And you know what? A lot of disabled people do need help. But it's not the kind of help that most people think of. A lot of disabled people, we don't need help with like changing gauze or keeping IVs safe. A lot of disabled people need help with basic stuff like getting undressed or getting into the shower, getting into bed, or maybe some help cooking or a reminder like, hey, did you shut off the stove? Not really medical help, mostly the kind of help that you would get from a friend after a rough night out. So you get help from a friend, but we are forced into nursing homes. And we're forced there because Medicaid, which is the largest insurance company for disabled people in our nation, is required by law to pay for nursing home services, but only has the option of paying for home services. So even though we don't need medical help, we just need help from a friend, Medicaid by law is required to pay for us to go to a nursing home and only has the option of letting us live in our own home. So it's simply not true that we need to be in nursing facilities. In fact, did you know that it's much cheaper and we're happier in our own homes? For example, in New York State, on average, it costs $337,000 to keep one person in a nursing facility for 1 year. To help that same person in their own home and give them all the same supports and services, it costs $69,000 on average. Now, I went to law school, not math school. But $337,000 versus $69,000, that seems like a huge difference to me. But let's go one step further. According to the CDC, there is 1.3 million people in nursing homes across the United States long-term. And 100,000 of them are in nursing facilities in New York State. So again, I went to law school, not math school, so I'm going to let you do the numbers on this. But to me, it sounds like our country is spending millions of dollars to steal the freedom of disabled and elderly Americans. We're spending millions to take away the freedom of Americans. Now, you might be thinking that this is outrageous and someone should do something about it. And I am with you, and I am proud to tell you that someone is doing something about it. Disabled people are doing something about it. I'm part of a group called ADAPT, and this is our logo. It says free our people, because that's exactly what we want to do. We want to free our people from these isolating institutions that segregate us, where we can't choose what to eat or what to watch on TV, or even if we get to take a shower today. We want to free our people and let them live in the community like everybody else. Now, ADAPT used to stand for American Disabled for Accessible Public Transportation. And this is us, and by us I mean ADAPT because this is over 30 years ago and I'm not that old. But this is ADAPT fighting for accessible public transportation. And I am proud to tell you that because of our work, accessible public transportation became the law of the land in 1990 when the Americans with Disabilities Act passed. So now we're just ADAPT. We don't really stand for anything. I mean, we do stand for something and sometimes sit. And we sit and stand for the rights of disabled and elderly Americans to live in freedom. And we do all the things that society tells us we're supposed to do. We talk to Congress. We try to educate society. We ask nicely for people to respect our rights to life and liberty. And we even wrote a bill. It's called the Disability Integration Act. It was introduced by Senate Minority Leader Schumer. And that bill says that an insurance company cannot force a person into a nursing facility without also offering them the same supports and services in their own home. A bill that recognizes the rights of disabled and elderly Americans to live in freedom. What a novel idea. Now, I know you might be thinking that this is pretty basic, but there are a lot of people who fight against this idea. And when they fight against us, ADAPT fights back. So this is ADAPT fighting for the rights of Americans with disabilities. And, you know, we fight for our rights and we fight for our lives. And when I say we're fighting for our lives, I'm making no exaggeration. But when I say we're fighting because we want to live, I don't mean just breathe, though we really do want to breathe. I mean we're fighting for the right to live in the community, to have a job, to raise a family, to have a ton of cats and eat pizza rolls endlessly like I do, to live an ordinary life. We fight so that we can live in freedom like all of you do. Because I can't just sit by and watch as people who are just like me and you have their freedom stolen from them because they're disabled. So I fight. And this is a result of me fighting. This is me getting arrested for fighting for the freedom of Americans with disabilities. And I fight with hundreds of people who say and feel the same way I do. And here's a few of them. Many of them used to live in nursing homes. They are victims of the same lies that we have all been told. They were told that they are too frail to live in the community, too disabled to live on their own. Now, not only do they live in the community, but they travel to Washington, D.C. and other places to fight for the freedom of other disabled people who are still stuck in nursing facilities. They fight for people that they have never met, but that they know all too well. Now, I want to be clear that everybody in all of these pictures has the ability to move on their own. The police are not helping us because they think we're disabled and we need help moving. They are arresting us. But remember when I told you that we fought for accessible public transportation? I'm happy to tell you that because of that, we are now able to be arrested in accessible police vehicles. So these people, they're not frail people. They're not incapable people. These are normal people. We are normal people. So don't pity us. But don't be inspired that we're disabled people doing something. Be inspired that normal people who are just like you are out there doing something. Normal people who are just like you are out there every day demonstrating and getting arrested to help their fellow Americans. They're putting their bodies and their criminal records on the line to make this country a better place for all of us. And when I say all of us, I mean all of us. Because I don't make the rules, but I've heard that if you get old, you get a disability. That's how it works. You age, you have more of the likelihood to become disabled. And therefore, you will also be at risk of going to a nursing home too. So be inspired by the work that we do. But don't be inspired by our disabilities. Our disabilities aren't what make us inspirational. Don't say if a disabled person can do it, then so can I. Say if someone who is just like me is out there trying to make this world a better place, then why aren't I? And then go do something.